right there on top of the moon. We could sit and do nothing. I wish we were both.
What's up, Wayward Souls? I hope you're doing well. In this episode, I feel very inspired to talk about my previous addiction to pot and what led me to be a raging pothead and how I was able to not be such a pothead, essentially. I do believe that weed is a plant medicine, and you can use it for so many good things. There's even a book out there called Wake, Bake, and Meditate that's like really cool, and I would use it for spiritual purposes. But for me, on my journey, I knew that it wasn't supposed to be an everyday thing eventually. And I just want to talk about my experience with it. So here we go. I had a very stressful life growing up. I had a lot of my parents were lovely people. You know, they just had their own issues. There was a lot of partying. I was around a lot of alcohol and drugs as a kid. There was a lot of instability in my family and aggression and yelling, and I was like the opposite of this. When I was young, like, loud noises scared me. I was too scared to go on rides at Playland. It was all too much. I just found that even the movie theaters were too loud. Like, I could easily get overstimulated by things. Like I could really feel energies to such a strong degree as a young child. And so I became empathic. I do believe that you could be born empathic as well, but a lot of empathic powers do come from being in unstable situations. And so I think that's another reason why I'm so sensitive. Like, of course, I have a lot of water signs in my birth chart, in my zodiac chart, that also help with that and intuition. But like I said, a lot of it does come from trauma as well. And so when I was about 13, I got exposed to pot. We snook some from my dad's stash, and I tried it, and I went to school. And I remember feeling for the first time ever at 13 what it's like to feel carefree and to feel happy and fun, like there's nothing to worry about. And it was and the world felt creative and fun again, like when I was really little. And you remember how big of an imagination you have when you're little. And I think that's why I was so inclined to smoke pot. And as the years went by, I quit pot for maybe 2 years in high school. And I remember being so insanely stressed and depressed, like crying every day, not sleeping at night, just not doing well, not functioning. You know, at the time I didn't realize it was just a failed system of teaching to a neurodivergent person, right? But at the time I didn't understand that. I just always believed that there was something completely wrong with me, and I would have these panic attacks on the regular. You know, I was only like 16, 17, and there was times, of course, when, you know, suicide was a question and things like that. And it was like I was longing for this relief, for this happiness that seemed out of reach. There was like this lingering cold loneliness that was around me. And so I started pot. I smoked some pot again after one of my panic attacks when I was about 17, going on 18. And I remember again feeling that relief that things are okay, that I'm okay, that the world can be fun, the world could be good. And I think that's really what has made me so inclined to smoke pot, is it helped me feel safe in the world that's so unstable. I became quite a heavy pot smoker after that. Like, I'm talking morning, during the day, in the evening, and this was every day for years and years and years. And there'd be times where it would definitely affect me in a very negative way. I definitely had some lung issues going on eventually, and this was when I vaped for a little bit as well, nicotine, but I cut that out, thank God. And there was just a lot of, in the background, this anxiousness and this instability and this, even though I felt like I was safer in the world, it's it was really hard to open up to people and to feel alert and to feel like I can communicate with people. I had a very avoidant personality, avoidant attachment, I think it's called. So just general anxiousness around other people and feeling safe in my relationships. So that was something I really had to work through. Now, the good thing about pot is it did help me wake up along my spiritual journey. One thing I love to do is go to the forest and I would smoke a bit of weed, and then I would have all these ideas and thoughts come into my mind, and I would just start journaling. And then the more I journaled, the more information I would actually get. So on top of the fact that pot made me feel so good and so safe in the world, it really helped me in my spiritual development and feel connected to spirit. And so I was a chronic smoker for years and years until about this year. I'm 26 now, and I had a really fantastic mushroom trip, and I saw an elder spirit come in, and he told me, he said, "We love what you're doing, and we love that you're connected to us. But it's time to experience the world sober. It's time to really be there, be present, and shine, and so I really took that, and I had, before that mushroom trip, I've been feeling like I really need to experience more sobriety in my life. So I gave it a try. I quit, and let me tell you, it was the hardest experience I've ever had, because I was, it's like a long-term relationship. I had been smoking pot for 13 years. That's like ending a 13-year relationship. So you can imagine how painful that it was. Not trying to say woe is me, but it was just such a struggle. And for two solid weeks, every day, just getting irritable, but sobbing and crying, all these emotions coming out that I didn't even know was there. And it was just such a really uncomfortable experience. Just so much emotions coming out. One thing that was real that I started noticing, though, is my dreams were becoming so powerfully clear. It was like I was awake in my dreams. I was able at one point to lucid dream, and I've done this a few times now, and I've made myself walk through walls, and I was in my neighbor's house. Who knows, maybe I was astral projecting, and I was making all these things happen. And one thing that used to happen to me a lot is when I was having anxious dreams, I would see a lot of really dark, almost demonic energies coming at me, and that used to really freak me out, right? But this last dream that I had, the last time I saw anything like that, that heavy metal symbol where you have your ring finger and middle finger and your thumb together, and you have your index and pinky sticking out. That usually means when you point that out, that's actually deterring evil. And I remember in this dream that these beings were coming at me, and I held that sign up, and I was like, hell no, you're not coming here anymore. And I said, love is the truth of all things, and in absence of love, there is fear and hate. And it was they cowered away, and they had something to learn from what I said. And it was just such a powerful dream. And I've been having these really crazy, vivid dreams. I used to always have crazy dreams and dreams that would come true before, but nothing so clear and so in your face. So that was like really cool, and not having a sore throat all the time on top of that, I felt more inclined to just keep going and quit. And then after about 2.5 weeks, I started to feel normal again. I started to feel, and I started to feel more alive. Like I could talk to people. I could feel safe around people. And I think also it's because through my spiritual journey, I've learned to let go of a lot of unhealthy connections. And so I've manifested this job with these new people, and I'm loving it, and I can talk to them, and it's fun and safe, and there's no one that gives me, like, I just feel safe around people again, and I feel safe in the world. And even if I'm around someone who's, kind of lame and not really for my highest good, I can deal with that in such a mature way and say, like, it's not, that's their stuff. That's what they're going through. I don't have to take anything personally. And just starting to feel more alive and present has been like something that's really kept me going with quitting. By the end of the 3rd week, I went for a forest walk, and I was going to treat myself to a joint, and I didn't. And that's when it hit me, is I was in the forest, and I felt my spirit guides, and I felt spirit just so strongly, like I haven't before being sober. That was the first time I realized that I could be just as connected to spirit being sober than on weed. Like, it's like I was building a muscle, and I finally got there. Like, I was able to do it, and that was just, like, I cried that day. It was so beautiful. Like, that's when I was like, okay, like, I don't need to rely on weed to function every day anymore. And to this day, I don't smoke weed every day. I don't drink at all because, I don't believe in it. If you do, that's totally fine. Like, I'm sure on the rare occasion I'll have a beer, like maybe once a year, but I just don't believe it's good for me because I have stomach issues, or I've had stomach issues, and I want to keep a clear head. But I will smoke a bit of weed here and there on weekends, and like going to events and things like that. I'll have an edible, sure. Or I'll have like a spiritual ceremony that might include weed, or once in a while it'll include mushrooms. And that's totally fine. I really believe that these things are beautiful plant medicines. I mean, to think about like the fact that pot has kept me going and kept me happy for so long, like that's powerful. It's just now that I've done so much healing, I don't feel like I need it quite as much as I used to. And everyone's journey looks different. Some people, they'll always need pot in their life, and that's totally fine. I just wanted to share my story to see, like, if you're going through the same thing, or like, if there's something that you've struggled with and you've quit, and you want to share that experience, or like understand that people have gone through what you've gone through. I hope this does inspire somebody. And that's my story, guys. I wish you all the best in your life and through your own stories. And feel free to comment on whatever you've been going through in regards to like addictions or plant medicines or anything like that. Feel free. I'd love to hear from you. Take care, everyone. Miss you like an old friend. Too scared now, thinking I should call up.